allows everyone to come in, and then we're just going to have a nice chill talk. Just going to chat knives tonight. Just figured I'd kind of want to hop on and just hang out with you guys today. So, doing a bit of a knife live. Not my normal time or anything, but yeah. All right. When you guys hop in, or if you're watching this later, tell me what you got on you. I'll show you mine here in a second. All right. Here we go. All right, so what I have on me today, this just came in the mail, and you'll probably see a video on it in a week. This is my Manix 2 in Spy 27. Just waiting for some more people to pop in. I think it's literally just me in here right now. But yeah, this guy arrived, and I'm pretty excited about it. I really, really like the Manix lightweight, and I sold my last one with the BD1 in just because I didn't think I needed two of them. Two knives in BD1 in. I'll just stick with the Pair 3 because it's smaller. But after selling that, I wanted another one. I really like one in a tool steel. I need someone to come out with one in a tool steel. And then once that happens, I'll probably get one of those. And I mean, I just really like the overall design of this guy. Hey guys, those of you that are joining in, I was just kind of filling the chat because I post these afterwards. Let me know what you guys got on you. I got this guy. This guy arrived today. You guys should see a video on it soon. All right. We're doing some important work today. We're going to be doing some lanyards. And shout out to Gerald from Outpost 76 for sending me some paracord. He noticed that I only had like 2 different colors of paracord, and so he sent me some. I think I'm gonna do some of this red, but not with this orange. And I think I'm gonna do the gray with this orange to provide kind of a contrast. I mean, let me know what you guys think. So we'll put this away for now. And then I have some leather. You know, you can't really go wrong with leather. Most important tool in lanyard making is a good Bic lighter. All right. Go ahead and measure this guy off. It should fit through the... Come on. Sweet. I always like having a lanyard on my knives. Oh yeah, that's gonna be way too long. Let's see. I think even still then, that's gonna be too long. I think that cutting it right there is gonna be good. All right. Stick with that. And then you always got to reseal the edges. On these. Just to make sure that you're not getting any fraying on it. And do be careful when doing this. It is a great way to burn or light stuff on fire, so just be really careful. I basically just get them to where they're kind of smoking, to where they melt over, and that's normally enough for me. Okay, go ahead and let this cool. Just make sure they're not touching or anything like that. Okay. Let's see, so this one's fine. I just think I need to kind of do this one a little bit. You know how many times I've burnt myself on these, doing these lanyards? Doesn't make me sound very smart saying that, but it, you know, it happens. Happens to the best of us, to the worst of us. All right, give them a little, cool them down a little bit. All right, I'm just getting this lanyard because I'm about to start heavily carrying this knife. And I always like having a little lanyard on my knives. You know, it's, especially if they're going in and out of the pocket a lot. Hey, how you doing, my bad? I sent that make your own off to you. Should be arriving to you. Forget what, I didn't exactly look at the date, but it should be arriving to you soon. Alright. We're just tying some lanyards and just shooting the shit, so should be fun. What you got on you today? Challenge coin? I didn't know he made challenge coins. The challenge coins are normally a military thing, right? Yeah, send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it, man. How'd your, you're still doing Tuesday lives, right? Aztec coin. That's gotta be cool. Alright. I think I'm gonna stop this one right here. 6 p.m. Central. That's not tonight, right? That is Tuesdays? Every other Tuesday, okay. Who's your, do you know who your next guest is? Or do you want to, are you keeping it on the down low? I think I'm going to keep that there and just trim this one up to here. 30 minutes. That tends to be, most of my lives tend to run for 40-ish. Tends to be what I like them for. How you doing, Patrick? How's Baton Rouge? How's it this time of year? Is it probably hot, humid? What you got on you? Like to know what people are carrying. All right. So there's that guy with a lanyard added on it. I don't doubt that one bit. All right, so first one down. What do you guys think? Should I do some more of this gray? Oh, nice. What steel's that bag lighter in? Or should I do some red? S35 yen. I've never had the Kaiser S35 yen. I wonder how it is. Let's see if I can feed this guy through. Uh-oh. Let's see. See if I can get this guy to feed. I hope so. Let's see. I think I'm gonna have to see if this trick works. Basically, I'm just trying to round off this so that I'm able to get it through that hole. How the 05452, is that a Sinkovich design or is that one of the Hinders? I'm not too good at remembering the ZTs based off of their numbers, but I spot them off of their, you know, off of their appearances. Just like I do most of my other knives, but... All right, there we go. We got that guy through. It was worrying me there for a second. I was like, I'm never going to get this... never going to get this through. Okay. Let's see. I think we want to do a little shorter on this guy. I've been meaning to get these lanyards tied, so I figured I'd make a live. I could chill with you guys and just talk whatever. I mean, is there anything you guys have questions about on the channel, or maybe some projects I have in the works, or... Oh, the really small guy? Oh, man. Don't get me started on that little 022 ZT. That thing is the... Okay, first off, the price tag. $200. I think for... Because here's the thing. You can get a larger knife, full titanium, okay? Full tie, by the way. S35 yen. So not much difference. For $188 Sinkovich. But then they want $200 for the carbon fiber and titanium one, even though it's just stonewashed titanium and carbon fiber, and then 20 CV. Now, if it was a larger knife, I'd be okay with that, but I think they're overcharging you. And ZT's heat treat on their 20 CV hasn't always been phenomenal, so I just wouldn't feel confident in the heat treat of the 20 CV. Because I've seen Gerald's testing on their 20 CV, and I didn't exactly blow me away, you know, especially for the price point you pay and for it being American manufacturing. But I think if you're looking for an under 2-inch knife, not bad. Yeah, like I like the Sinkovich more, the 0450. I believe is what it is, not the 52, but the 0450. I actually want to get one of those. Yeah, I just think that the value that ZT provides could be better. You know, because they're Kershaw knives, right? Sister brand. The value for those is phenomenal. You know, USA made. And I actually read on their... So they say themselves that they make 6 million knives a year. That's from Kershaw themselves. USA. So that's not just their Chinese knives that they sell way more of. That's just their USA made stuff. And I'm assuming that's including their ZT line as well. That wouldn't surprise me if that was their ZT line as well. But I imagine the vast majority of those are leaks and Kershaw blurs, which are phenomenal knives for the value. You know how many guys I get in there that are like, I want a USA made knife, I want good value at the knife, you know, at my knife counter at work, and I just don't have either. I don't stock either of those. But I tell them about it. I said, hey, you got to take a look at these. They're USA made. They're made by Kershaw, so it's a good reputable brand. The steel they use is great for every day, and they're under $100. You know, they're like $60 in most instances. You can go to Walmart and get a Kershaw leak. Yeah, I think they are kind of the 0350. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, the Ken Onion design. That's one of their originals. Yeah, the 0350 basically is a beefed up Kershaw blur with some thicker liners, and yeah, 100%. I definitely see that parallel. And I think actually that's a good knife from them. I've sold plenty of those, and we do stock those at the knife counter. But it's if someone's looking at, you know, under $100, and that's a requirement for them, then I really like those. Yeah, and the blurs are just a good work knife. I mean, you can walk up to, you know, a lot of the guys who are mechanics. They have a leak or a blur on them because they sell them on the Snap-on. Snap-on sells them from their vans, and it's basically a good everyman's tool. Yeah, I don't think I have any blurs anymore. I have a leak. I have a leak that I bought while I was on my honeymoon because it was the only good knife I could find. Yeah, I think Agent Gibbs from NCIS, I think he carried, it wasn't a 0350, it was a derivative of it that had different scales. But I think Gibbs from NCIS, I mean, he, on one of the episodes, he had a ZT on him, and it was a derivative of that 0350 design. Doesn't that look so sleek, guys? That gray with the light blue. I really like that. And I do have a green aluminum link. M. Mikey. I have one of those. It's sitting in my knife case right now. I think it's the 0357 that they have? That and the link are like they're Eskimo cousins, or you know what I mean? Like they're basically kissing cousins of each other. I want to do this one in I'm going to do leather on this guy. Carrying this guy so I can do a review on it. I just want to get some more days in on it. Yeah, they're super similar to one another. You know what's my favorite part about lanyard? What knife does Tom Cruise carry? Oh, I have no idea. I'd love to... Sebenza. He carries a Sebenza. In Mission Impossible, he pulls out a small Sebenza. That was a trick question, wasn't it? D-Life. It was in the Mission Impossible, he had a Sebenza on him. You tried to pull a quickie on me, didn't you? I almost missed it, too. Do you know what knife Hannibal Lecter carries? If you remember from Silence of the Lambs. Oh, it could be Collateral. It could be. Yeah, he does. I think it's a Harpy. Remember that Italian inspector guy in one of the movies? Hannibal Lecter, he lures him into the chapel. And he, what was it, Picasso? but he kills him like his ancestor, and he uses it's either a matriarch or a harpy, I believe, that's fully serrated, and that's what Hannibal Lecter used. And the funny thing is I saw that in a video. One of the knife channels, it might have been Blade HQ or something, did knives in movies. It's a large Sebenza, okay. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, okay. And then I started watching Silence of the Lambs, and I saw that, and I was like, holy cow. I pointed it out to my wife. That's one of our favorite. She thinks it's cute, my wife, that I'll see a knife, or we'll see a knife in a show, and we'll pause it, and she'll be like, what knife is that? And I'm like, sometimes it's just a cheap, a cheap knife. Or one time in Dexter, he had a discontinued Benchmade that I couldn't quite name, but it was a Benchmade in Dexter. He had one of the, looked like either a frame lock or a liner lock Benchmade that was long discontinued. Yeah, isn't it fun to, when you see a knife in a show, you're just like, oh, what is that? You kind of stop it and you try to get it. You try to get it as close in as you can. What kind of knives would the Avengers carry? FAK. I'm not sure. He might have. He might have. If you've been into knives longer than me, you might be. I don't even think I've seen that before. The AFAK. The Boker Mermaid. The ultimate meme knife. Yeah, the Benchmade 42. That's what. What's her name's? Chloe Moretz, the actress who plays her. Hi, Jacob. Hi. But yeah, she's using Benchmade Balisongs in Kick-Ass. So my favorite thing to do with is any Rockstead. Grail knife is any Rockstead. I don't know if I'd ever mess with Rockstead. They're just so, like, yes, they're kind of like an art knife. But I don't know if that's my kind of niche. Like, I like the Sebenzas, right? Because they can kind of have that. But they are also purpose-built. So there we go. That should be nice to throw in my pocket for that guy. So here's what we've made so far. Yeah, I heard there's something to that high Rockwell ZDP and that convex grind that they do. To be honest, I haven't read too far into it just because I don't really like convex grinds. They're not my favorite. For what I do, I need a really slicey flat ground blade. Really? In The Walking Dead, that's interesting. Yeah, because they find a whole... they find a whole roll case in the first season. Okay, I remember that one, Rumpel. Yeah, The Walking Dead, that's great. The first couple of seasons were good, and then it was just like, it's the same thing happening over and over again. All right, guys, what do we think? Should I do purple with this guy? That can be a problem. I mean, you could also say the same for like firearms, but I'd really just say that most people realize that it's a movie. Like a lot of the situations in movies would never happen if anyone had a glimpse of just standing there for a second, thinking out, and then going ahead. Yeah, dude, Rumpelkelpskins, I agree with you. He should have lived forever. Is that where Balisong laws came from? From movies? That was probably Knife Rights that helped undo that. Doug Ritter, he does good work over at Knife Rights. They were just successful this year with getting Ohio's auto law repealed so that they were legal there. Will W. You're like, why are you standing there? My favorite zombie book, I won't say movie, is World War Z, because it was the most realistic. They're like, yeah, so I just walked away from the zombies and I didn't trip and I'm okay. Yeah, the movie was completely opposite of the book. The book was like this reporter going around and getting like after war stories of this quote like World War Z, and then the movie was Brad Pitt, and the zombies ran and were very fast, and the virus didn't take days to react, it took seconds. You know, and in the book, it wasn't like that. You were bit, and then it was 48 hours or 24 hours, and then you'd start getting a fever, and then you'd kind of just go into a coma, and then you'd wake up a zombie. And the world didn't, like, collapse instantly like it did in World War Z. It was, like, a years to month process. I mean, the book's great. They butchered it with the movie, though. And it's actually good in terms of it's a good postmodern style of book, you know, where it's interviews and such, and he does a good job of embodying characters in his writing, which I really liked. It's one of the few books I've read 3 times through. I liked it that much. I read it that many times. Yeah, like I've been reading Harry Potter too, and the books are better than the movies. But I will say, with like Harry Potter and such, they did a fantastic job with the movies. And the Hunger Games, I think they did a great job turning those into movies. To be fair, I've never read the book, but I did enjoy the movies. And from talking to people who've read the books, they said they like them. Yeah, I would agree with you. I'd agree with you on that. But yeah, do you guys carry lanyards on your knives? They are never in stock, and Microtech lies about their competition, Patrick. They're not a believer in a fair, free market. So you won't ever see, you probably won't ever see a Microtech on the channel unless they change their ways. Because I'm a believer in voting with my dollars. Lose your knives? That's never fun. I get a lot of guys who come to the counter, they're like, I lost my knife. If Salty Red Corn puts one. I think they're fun if you ever want a day, like if you just have a day where you're just really just kind of lazing around and you want something to keep your hands busy, making lanyards is perfect for that stuff. It really is. Trodons are freaking huge. Way too big for my hands. I have kind of smaller I'm not a big dude, so I don't have huge hands. But Troodon's big knife. That is a Beefy boy for sure. Even the Ultratech's a little too big for me. That's why I haven't bought an Axial. It's just way too big for me, just to comfortably use and carry. Yeah, I love taking my knives apart. A great example of a knife that's easy to take apart is something like this PM2 or the Para 3. You know, it's 3 screws and you're done. You know, the ones that are hard to take apart, are these like Benchmade style with the crossbar lock that you have to deal with the cage. Those are hard to do. And not as fun to take apart. Yeah, so Rumple Kelpskins, that's why I do lanyards, is because this stuff will eat my pockets up because I pull them out every day. So Zachary Magpul, so I bought this on Amazon. So it's Lala beads, and this is the code for it. I did not realize it was made in China, though, when I bought it. But it's 3mm, genuine leather. How to get the lanyard tube out of the PM2? Oh, man. So one thing you can do is when you undo these screws, you can slide it open. And then what you do is you actually put a screwdriver right in here. You lift up. So you unscrew all of this except for this. And you get some kind of bar behind the liner. And you're going to pop it like that. So you're going to bring it towards it. Now, it will get the scales off. But it will be hard to get the liners off of the lanyard tube. That's harder. That you kind of have to do with pliers or have something else that can kind of pop them out because they flare out. That is the hardest part of the PM2 to do. Everything else is easy, but that one lanyard tube. Yeah, and if you can, try to find a USA. I thought this was USA made. I should have looked a little harder, but it's hard to know on Amazon sometimes. Oh, your man bug. Okay, so I took apart a Delica. Happy Friday, Mark. I took apart a Delica, and I was going to do a video, and then the spring came out as I was putting it back together, and I was like, holy crap, how do I undo this horrible situation I've gotten myself into? So I looked it up. Sharp Dress Knives makes a tool for the lanyard tube. Patrick McCrea. I think it's Sharp Dress Knives. Yeah. Sneaky Hyperion. Sharp Dress Knives makes that tool. Last time I looked, they were out of stock. They could be in stock now, though. But getting back to your man bug. The spring is what's hard on there to do. That's what's hard to reset. And so I had to watch a video myself because I got myself into that situation and I really screwed myself over. This is S90V that won't cut paper, but I bet you it'll cut this cord just fine. I don't want it that long. I think I want not super well, does it? It's kind of lost its bite a little bit. There you go. And then just need to cinch these. Oh, that's sweet, Will W. That's a sweet little mod you got going there. I have never tried a squeak. I'm always down to try new Spyderco models as long as they're USA made. And if I ever did try a Chinese made one, I'd probably I'd buy it secondhand. Oh, did you put it on the wrong side to where it wasn't captured? Captured pivots, man, they're awesome. The one thing that I love on a knife is when there's captured pivots. Oh, man. M4 Shaman for 4 days. I didn't know that. I didn't have the money for it, so I wasn't interested. I was very much broke at the time. So I kept that out of my mind so I wouldn't spend money I didn't have. But, I mean, that's surprising that they lasted so long. I want to see if this leather will go through the RSK. Oh, it will. Look at this. Oh, no, you're good. I've missed my fair share. One drop that I missed that I was kind of upset about was the Smoky Mountain Knife Works PM2 in the carbon fiber and the M4, and I was so pumped for it. I was so excited. I go on there, and it doesn't take my card information. I'm like, what the heck? So I put it in again. I'm like, okay, I got it this time. Didn't take it. I put it in again. It says no longer available, oversold. I was fuming because I was actually really excited for that. I was really, really excited for that one. But I'm sure you guys know how it is. You get a knife design you like. And yes, to the boys in the chat, K390 Shaman, I'd get that reground, and that would be freaking fantastic. Hold on. I think that's too much. Yeah, K390 Shaman. That's a must buy. And with denim micarta, that would be really cool. So far I haven't had an experience with my leather smelling bad. This is cured leather too, so it doesn't really soak up any of my sweat. So I haven't had an experience with it, because it's lace. It's meant to be. This is like leather shoelace. Oh, a Crewwear Sage 5 lightweight, Lil W. I am with you. I am with you on that. I would buy that in a freaking heartbeat, especially if it was done with the Seki City heat treat. Spot on. Heartbeat. They'd be like, hey, those are in stock, and I'd be like, not for long. You know the meme where it's the guy that slaps the button and says, I'll take your entire inventory? If they do a Sage 5 lightweight in either of those steels, I'll get one. I didn't get the M4 just because I love M4, but its crutch is its corrosion resistance, where I think Crewwear kind of solves that problem with the fact that it having just a little bit more chromium in the matrix. I've had Crewwear in my pocket in a river for several hours, and then in my damp pocket afterwards with only specks of rust, where if I did that with M4, it would have rusted out. That's why I haven't bought. I think those M4 Sages are still in stock, which I'm really happy they did that exclusive, but I don't know. The mint green kind of throws me off because I feel like they should have just gone for like a darker green on those. A darker green I think would look phenomenal. Your Super Freak, was it from on the water? Did it rust out on you? I've seen guys really go after those Super Freaks, and they hold up really well. M4 is a great steel. Yeah, it's definitely a winter knife for sure when it's not as humid for you. I mean, there in Arkansas, it's going to be brutal. Carry that M4. You'll like it. Just make sure you keep it oiled up. Yes, Zachary Magpul, I've seen some of his examples of the chopped knives. I think they're really cool, but you're spending like an extra $200 on an already $200 knife. Let's see, is that going to be... Yeah, I think we're going to keep this one here. We're just going to trim it up just a little bit. All right. Look at that. Yeah, I wouldn't want like a super saturated color if they went away from the green, just like darker. More of an earthy tone. Because those lighter tones, if you're working a lot and you're like me where you get metal dust on your fingers from sharpening, then it is just hard to keep a knife like that from not looking disgusting. You know, with those lighter tones. Different scales. I think G10, there's something with the Shamans. I don't know why, but they are always off center. Custom titanium scales. I mean, Flytanium does for the Shaman. There's that guy, Meton Boss, that Metal Complex was shouting out the other day. Wood is great. Just be careful with wood because you are in a humid environment. Just make sure it's stabilized, because otherwise you can get flexing, cracking, swelling. Thinking of doing red on this PM2. You gonna sell off a bunch of knives? My bad. What you thinking of selling? I'm with you there, Sneaky Hyperion. I definitely think after scale, although with Benchmade going after aftermarket scale makers, it might make people more although Spyderco's never done stuff like that. But with the recent debacle because of Benchmade going after an aftermarket scale maker, it'll be interesting to see how that affects the future aftermarket game in terms of knives. Yeah, it is hard to carry. Once you get to a certain amount of knives, it's hard to carry them. Really, you could go 2 months, 3 months. Yeah, I'm probably right there with you then. My bad. I think I'm tied with you on that. Let's get this guy tied up. A K2, a Spyderco K2, the ones that are in 10V. Mark, is that what you're looking for? Those were sweet. They should have never stopped making the K2. Just like the buoy. You know how the buoy's so overpriced nowadays? It's like $700 for a Sleesh buoy, and it's an XHP. I don't know. I'm never going to be one to tell people how to spend their money, but don't spend $700 on a Spyderco. Honestly, don't spend more than $400 on a Spyderco. They are a mass-produced knife. Yes, they do a good job on the heat treat and such, but you're getting diminishing returns. Let's see. I think I messed that one up. I need to review some of Axial's stuff. I mean, after what Microtech tried to pull over on them, I like to support good American brands. Yeah, I mean, the cost of a Sebenza is my maximum of what I'll spend on a knife. Because I love my Sebenzas, and they're USA made. And I don't think I've ever heard of I've never heard of a controversy with Sebenza knives. Maybe, or Chris Reeve knives. And so I have no problem buying from them. And same thing with Spyderco. I mean, I haven't really heard much controversy with Spyderco. Maybe in some of the models they've made where the price was ridiculous. And it was M390, the knife joist leash buoy. But it was never off the character of the owners, you know? I vote with my dollars, and I like them to go to companies to where it's to where they're going to be going to good causes. Okay. Well, PM me if you want. You got my Instagram, my bad. I'd love to talk to you about that. It would be really interesting to see what they had to say. I mean, what really surprised me is that Microtech went after them. And I just... Yeah, it was very sad to see an American company stoop that low and do something that backward. Yes, and the warrant, you can buy any part on your Chris Reeve. Any part on your Chris Reeve you can buy. You can buy any part, you can buy a new blade, you can buy new pivot screws, you can buy new scales. And the awesome thing is yes, the modifying it will void the warranty, but you can just buy a stock part. So if you ruin the one that you modified, you can just buy another part from them. You know, it won't be covered by the warranty, but you're still able to buy it. I think they've been pretty straightforward. I don't know. Microtech makes stuff overseas too. And I think Axial is moving all their production to the US. They've made some stuff overseas, but they've told you it was made overseas. An auto has to be 100%. I mean, I'd love to hear what that rep said to you. If there's new evidence, I'll reevaluate. But according to Axial, they're moving everything in the US. I know they've done a few runs where they haven't been. And then... They had a few runs where they haven't been, but they disclosed that, with their new Alpine fixed blade. And their, oh man, that new flipper, I think it's called the Enzio, after the Italian mountain range. Yeah, the CRK. In terms of the Chris Reeves, I actually really like the large Sebenza. The Nkosi is also great. It's going to be larger than the large Sebenza, so if you have larger hands and you want a larger knife, that's a great option. If you're going for a small model, I would go for the small Sebenza over the small Nkosi. Unless you have really small hands and you want a smaller knife, then the small Nkosi is a great option. Let's see. I actually really like the Zahn, but they're impossible to find. And in terms of a blade shape, their drop points are kind of thick near the tip for the smalls. So if you want something that's going to be a hard use knife, the small's great. The large has better geometry overall though, and will be a better cutter just because it's a taller grind. I mean, that's what I've noticed on mine. I've bought 2 smalls and they were both super thick near the tip. Yes, Mark Herrera just nailed that down in the chat. Let me remind you, for under $100, I'm getting S90V blade steel that doesn't have an awful heat treat on it. Yes, but most OTFs are going to mirror that. I mean, are they saying that they outright copied them? So, yeah, so they're importing component. I mean, most of the screws in your knives are probably going to be... Yes, Zachary, they can have up to 49% Chinese parts. Now, ideally, you don't want that. But it's no... it's no mystery that not every part... It's just like in your car. Your car is American-made, quote-unquote, but they ship parts from all over. You know, you should see how many parts come from Mexico or from Asia and then are shipped over and then they assemble it here in the U.S. So they're assembling it here in the U.S. Or they make the chassis, you know, they make the body in the U.S. And so, I mean, I think one of the only car manufacturers that, like, even more so than Ford and GM, I think it's Tesla. I mean, they form the bodies here. They have the huge mega presses that press the metal. I mean, their battery manufacturing is here. Yeah, American assembled is probably closer to the truth. I don't know where Spyderco gets their screws from. I mean, their steel is U.S. sourced, and you can get G10 that's U.S. sourced. I don't think there's any shortage of, you know, steel manufacturing here, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the scales would have to be machined here in their factory. But the screws and such could have been sourced from somewhere else. Yeah, and you know what, Will W? I agree with you there. As long as they're honest about it. Like DeWalt says, sourced from, it was assembled in America from foreign sourced components, something like that. I think that's fine. You just have to be honest about it. Yeah, Mark, I remember you talking about Manly's D2, and you said it was good. And yeah, I mean, there's other countries where you can get those screws made too. For me, I would just really hope it's not from China. Yeah, have a good night, Patrick. Thanks for joining the live. Thanks for participating in the chat. I always like hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts. I think that's... Let's see what I've made lanyards for tonight, boys. So we've got this guy. Yeah, so for me, Will, I look for that same criteria, but I also like to look where it's made. Because, like I said, I like to vote with my dollars. And there are countries out there that their stances on certain things are an antithesis to what I stand for. And so I don't like... It's nothing against the people. It's really against the government and the policies there. And that's really how it is for me with Chinese knives. I try not to buy from their government because their the money's going towards their government that is anti-American. So as me as an American, I don't want to support a potential adversary. And they don't treat their workers very well. And I don't know if you've heard about the Uyghur Muslims and the concentration camps in China. That is a huge thing, and that is perpetuated by the Chinese government themselves. And so I don't like sending money to countries that are willing to do stuff like that, just because I have the ability to choose from other countries that are allies, or they treat their workers better. They pay them a good wage, and my money's going towards, you know, everyday people like myself. Yeah, Pakistan knives. Before I got into knives, we bought knife blanks from Pakistan for my scout troop, and we made knives out of them, and the steel on them is absolute garbage. Yeah, it's hard to find stuff, good stuff, that is not. I mean, that's not sourced from China, or, you know, or even USA made stuff. Yeah, I like supporting home manufacturing because, like we saw with the pandemic, I mean, everything shut down and you couldn't find stuff because it was all made overseas. Yeah, yeah, when TVs used to be made in the US. Yeah, I mean, if they stop making it or they stop sending it, how are we going to get it here? You know, it's just actually a great example of this. If you guys are history buffs at all, so Fanta um, came around during World War II because, as you know, Germany was blockaded by the Allies in both World War I, World War II, right? And so the ingredients for Coca-Cola were embargoed from Germany, and actually that whole division of Coca-Cola Germany was disavowed from the U.S. portion of it. And so they didn't have the Germans love Coke, right? They love Coca-Cola and they love Fanta. And Fanta was created using, I believe, a byproduct of some sort that had a citrus flavoring to it. And they created a new soda that was Fanta, and it was orange soda. And so if you're ever enjoying a Fanta and you're like, this is delicious, you have wartime scarcity of Coca-Cola to thank for your orange Fanta. Hey, you have a good night too. Thanks for joining in, my bad. It was good to see you, buddy. DM me when you can about what the rep said. I'd love to hear what, at least see what he said. I mean, it's never something to be encouraged. Conflict. You should always try to find a peaceful resolution first, but yeah, I mean, I see plenty of guys where I work that have injuries from combat, and it's, you know, it's never something you'd wish upon anyone. Yeah, it's never good. It always does more harm. But let's get back into knives. As you guys see, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6. 6 lanyards. I did all the same style. This is called a snake knot. If you guys are wondering how to do these, you can just go back and watch me. It's one of the simplest that way easier than like a noose knot or something like that where it's adjustable on your lanyard. And they're very easy to do. I mean, you can do them on Swiss tools, your knives, your keys. Actually, I did it at work. We had a set of keys that needed just something else to hold on to so we wouldn't lose them. And so I did one of those. Easy to maintain too, super quick. Sometimes they do kind of slip out, but that's why you do these little buttons. That's what they call these. You can flatten them out a little more and form buttons out of them. But what it does is it basically prevents it from slipping out here. Go ahead and put these off to the side. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before I dip out for the night? Maybe some questions you guys had? Hey, you too, Mark. Thanks for joining in, man. It was good seeing you. Is there anything else y'all wanted to talk about before I dip out? I think we've been an hour into it. I normally try to answer questions before my lives end. Oh, the smallest knife I've ever handled. I I mean, that 0.22 is pretty damn close. Actually, that might be the smallest knife. I mean, the smallest pocket knife I've handled, besides maybe like a Victorinox SD or yeah. I mean, the STL 2.0 from Gerber is super small too. I mean, I handle the Peanut from that Case makes too a lot, just because you sell them at work, and the Texas Toothpick, that's another one. I don't know. I don't. So my ideal, like the smallest I'll go on a blade is the Little Native. That's the smallest I would buy, is the Little Native that Spyderco makes. Unless, I mean, a keychain knife, but I don't really have use. I don't really have use for a super small knife. I like something around 3 inches. Yeah, like the bugs are crazy small. I'm tempted to buy one in K390 just to trash, basically. Honey Badger Tonto or CRJB large Malia. I don't have much experience with the CJRB. The Honey Badger Tonto, that would be interesting. I've heard good things about the Honey Badger. The CJRB large Malia, though, might have, I think if it's the AR RPM 9 steel, I think we'll have a better steel on it. Yeah, I mean, I don't normally support Chinese manufacturing, but CJRB, they have good and fit and finish. I can't attest to their heat treat because I've never tested the AR RPM 9 steel. But from the one that I have, my wife bought me as a gift, it seems just fine, and the heat treat on the D2 actually wasn't that bad either. In terms of like budget knives that I recommend for USA, the Buck Spitfire is a great option. Actually, the Sprint from them is a great option too as a flipper. From all the ones I've handled recently have had amazing actions, phenomenal. And their 420 high carbon is going to perform about AUS 8, if not a little better. At least that's how it did in cardboard testing, 192 feet as opposed to AUS 8's 174. So very good comparably. Another thing too is if you want something a little flashier, the Kershaws that we were talking about earlier, the blurs and the leaks, those are great options, and you can get them in CPM 154, S30V. If you go for the Link, it'll put you at the $80 to $90 mark. That you can get 20 CV, but it's really going to perform more like S30V to be honest. So you're really paying more for if you like the design and the way it feels over the blur. But their 14C28N they use is phenomenal. I actually want more USA manufacturers to start using a steel like Nitro V, where it's easy to heat treat. You can get it to higher Rockwell, and you get amazing performance out of it, easy to maintain. I say this a lot, but I think that a brand like Benchmade or like what Spyderco's doing with BD1N, perfect example. Lightweight model, they make it cheaper. I think Benchmade should do that same thing, especially like in the bug outline or something like that. Would be phenomenal with Nitro V, and it really does. At 61, 62 Rockwell, that's easy for them to hit. Peter's heat treat could hit that no problem. Easy to grind, and it would be some of the best steel anyone's ever had. Yeah, so for me, budget's anything under 100, because you can always save, right? It might take you longer to save, but you can always, budget around $100. It gives you more room too. Plus, anything under $100 tends to be more budget-minded anyways. Okay, so Sneaky Hyperion, you're going to be really interested then in the next couple of months on this channel. Because I think I'm going to be doing K390 after I do the S90V, and then I'm doing a big 20 CV roundup. So it's going to be, that's why I have this Hogan 20 CV and this Hogan 20 CV. I do have a Benchmade bug out in 20 CV that I'm going to be testing. I have some Spydercos in 20 CV I'm going to be testing. I'm going to be comparing it to the Kershaw 20 CV. Let's see. TRM's 20 CV, so I'm going to be doing like a big 20 CV roundup. I might have to ask for some viewers to send in some 20 CV from like overseas 20 CV for me to sharpen and use just to provide you guys a fair comparison. I want an S90V bug out. I have a Damasteel one. I have 2 M4s. I have an S30V, and then I have a 20 CV one that I bought. But I would like an S90. So a stretch here. Something USA made. Ontario Wraith. Lockback. About... Oh, okay. So, lockback. And it's USA made, and it's about $30. Okay, the Buck 112 lightweight. I think they're 35. Okay, so you're slightly over. If you go for the Buck 110 slim, they're USA made, so not Taiwan made or nothing. But that should fulfill most of your requirements you're looking for. In terms of USA made, and they're like $35. So is that what you were looking for, Rumpel? Those Buck 112s and those slims there. I mean, you can find a USA made budget knife. You just got to shop around. And if you really want, you can do the Bantam, which they offer in 3 sizes. They offer in a small, a large, and a medium. The medium is $17 if you do the black one. The small is, funny enough, it's like $20, and then the large is like $25. And those are just a real cheap beater knife. I'm probably going to be giving one away that I ran testing on, later. But they're another great example of a USA made knife that is great for the value and is, again, USA made. But yeah, did y'all have any other questions before I head out? Give you guys a second to type if you were wondering anything. Oh, thanks, you too, Zach. I always try to be a resource to people. So if you ever have questions, you always put them down below my videos, hop in my lives. I always do my best to get you guys the information you need. The Boker Mermaid, I would probably end it all because I'd be sharpening all the time. I would probably be sharpening 24/7. I mean, even with a steel like S90V M4, I only get 2 or 3 days of use at work out of them, Like, I have to constantly sharpen. Even high-end steels or strop. You dare me? You dare me? Oh, man. It's a question of my honor now. But I wouldn't be able to buy one. Remember my stance. They're foreign, specifically Chinese made. So if there's something comparable to it that's like Taiwan, literally any... carry 10 Boker Mermaids at a time. I'd be like, here, let me get my phone out of my pocket. Throws 8 knives on the counter before I get my phone out. I would definitely have to do cargo pants. Rumpel Kelpskins. It would take my entire family lined up, tied up, on their knees, being threatened with their lives. For me to use a pull-through sharpener on any of my knives. When people come in and they're like, yeah, I sharpened it up, and I was like, was it a pull-through sharpener? And they're like, yeah. I was like, I can tell. They're like, how can you tell? I'm like, because this edge is garbage. But I like being honest with people, and I tell them, for just slightly more money, you can get a work sharp sharpener that's going to put an edge on there for you, no problem. Yes, pull-through sharpeners make your knives duller, okay? You get 2 seconds of maybe increased edge retention, and then you have completely destroyed that apex. That apex has been massacred by that pull-through. Because if you think about it, you're doing an apex like this, right? And your goal is to get them to align like this, right? Because when you're dueling a knife, it's doing that. It's dulling, right? The apex is fatiguing and is going down. You are losing that sharpness. What's a pull through going to do? You pull it through a couple times, maybe what? This? Or this? Or this? But the more you pull it through, because remember, the very edge of that knife also touches that. You're going to eventually just start wearing because you're not properly apexing it from one side to the other. You're basically just going to end up with it'll kind of look sharp, but you're going to still get that flattening effect. Not quite a hook-shaped bevel. I mean, if you're taking into account the burr, it probably looks like a hook shape if you're to look from it straight on, because it will kind of hook over. Yeah. Yeah, pull-through sharpeners on, like, S30V or even a Steel like 154 CM, I mean, they're not exactly... You want to do a nice, proper stone on stuff like that, especially with all that vanadium carbide in the S30V. Oh man, pull-through sharpener on your $100 Griptilian or $130 Griptilian. Oh man, I feel sorry for you. You must have been desperate, Rumpel. Yeah, you learn your I mean, there's some things where I always say this. It just takes once. Some lessons you just need to learn once. Most of the time it's when you get hurt, but most of the time you just have to learn once. But yeah, did you guys have any more questions? Just want to make sure I answer them all before I head out. I don't have much else to do tonight, so if all I do is answer questions, then it's a good night. Yeah, the Work Sharp field sharpener is amazing, Will. I mean, it has angle guides on there at 20 degrees, so if you just sharpen your knives at 20 degrees, and then you just sharpen them on your angled sharpener at 20 degrees, no problem there. You can maintain a nice bevel using diamond abrasives and a strop for really not a whole lot of hassle. So 0 complaints there. And their ceramic system is really nice too on their guided field sharpener. And it has a broadhead wrench on it too, so if you're an outdoorsman and you bow hunt, that's a great option. Also has a dry box, so you can put some matches in there and some lines, so if you ever get in a tough spot, it's a great option. Yeah, and they have the upgraded one that has the plates, and so there's a small one that's just the ceramic and the strop, and then there's a bigger one that has the plates, the strop, the ceramic, pull-throughs, broadhead wrench, and those are phenomenal. Those, I would recommend that to someone, no problem, in terms of being a portable sharpener. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about? I think I'm going to head out. Give you 30 seconds to type a question, and if nothing pops up, I'm out for the night. All right, guys. It was nice talking with you guys. Got to hang out with you guys, do some lanyards, some stuff I've been meaning to do, but I always like talking to you guys and seeing how y'all are doing. But as always, yeah, thanks for joining on my stream, guys. If you missed any of it, just go back to the beginning and watch it. We were just chilling and talking about knives, lanyards, basically just some news that was going on in the knife world. Just a really nice little chat. But, I bet you guys know what I'm going to say next. What I always say. Thanks for watching, and stay sharp.